Hey guys, for this let you know that TLD today made a good video comparing the iPhone 4 versus the Samsung Galaxy Nexus in web browsing and using carriers. And now, if you do know TLD today, he has a bunch of Apple lovers. And you know, when the Galaxy Nexus is winning in this test, obviously they need to have an excuse. Why did it win? Well, you know, he did compare carrier speeds in this video, so of course the iPhone 4S is not a 4G device yet, so it was running on 3G, while the Galaxy Nexus is you know, coming here with Verizon's 4G LTE network, and you know, the Galaxy Nexus really did kill the iPhone 4S in this video, and people are saying that like, oh, like, how about you compare Wi-Fi so it's fair, rather than showing one network's downfall. The iPhone, then he really states here, the iPhone is faster, as you proved. It lost on network alone. This test proved nothing. Well, you know, I know you are a fanboy here, but this test actually proves that the Samsung Galaxy Nexus is faster when you use carrier speeds. And I think that most people are gonna, you know, when they surf, they're not gonna use Wi-Fi on their phone. They're gonna use the carrier speeds because they are out and running or in the bus or whatever. And I don't get, how could this be unfair? Because you know, he's comparing the carrier speeds, and of course you're gonna use the best speeds possible that you can get on the particular smartphone. So you know, the iPhone 4S, it's like, okay, let's say you want to compare two cameras, let's on two smartphones. One of the cameras recording 1280p, the other one records in only 720p. Now of course you're going to use the high settings on both cameras or both smartphones, so you can see which one really is the best. And of course you want to max it out to really see what you're gonna get, because that's how people are gonna use the devices. And it's the same thing with this, you know, and when people are gonna buy the Verizon Galaxy Nexus and they're gonna use the speeds and stuff like that, and when they're gonna browse, they're gonna use like the 4G speeds, and you know, the iPhone 4S users, they're usually gonna use the 3G speeds because they have nothing else to go with. So you know, how could it be unfair? Because that's how people are gonna use the smartphones. So it's actually not unfair. The Galaxy Nexus is much faster, and people really seem to having a hard time to understand that. Let's see here. Let's see. There are a ton of fun comments here. Dude, you have nothing left after the show. Nothing. Okay. Well, testing carrier necessary speed is important. I think Wi-Fi should also be tested. Yes, you can test that, but then also TLD today said here that the Galaxy Nexus also smoked the iPhone 4S in that test. Since you're typically connected to Wi-Fi a fair amount throughout an average day, I think most of the people are more connected to the carrier. So yeah. Let's see here. iPhone 4 was slow. Samsung Galaxy is faster web browser since it has 4G. For people who are upset with this video because iPhone was slower, yeah, internet speeds is vastly different. This test is invalid. Oh my god. Let's see. LOL. It was more like 4G versus 3G. Also, a guy that was kind of, you know, sad because his Apple didn't win. And another fanboy, do it on the same Wi-Fi network and the iPhone will win. You know, he didn't even have to see that, because you know, he knows that because he is a fan, and my iPhone beats everything. And okay, here we go again. Unfair. He used Verizon 4G versus AT&T 3G. Of course, the 4G speeds are faster. And there you got a response. My bad. Let me go get my 4G iPhone. Oh wait. But the fact is that Apple didn't optimize the iPhone for 4G, and that was a fault. By the way, I'm an iPhone user, but not everything on the iPhone is perfect. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say here. I mean, yeah. The iPhone 4S kills in the GPU. That's just one example. It's usually a little more smooth in, you know, graphics and everything, and that's also awesome. Let's see. Don't switch from iPhone. All the tech reviewers are starting to switch either Android or Windows Phone. You probably weren't thinking about doing that, but I just wanted to make sure. So why wouldn't you wanna change? Let's see here. Let's see. People could be misled by this. Check it on Wi-Fi. I'm more than sure they'd be more or less the same. And then a not smiley face because he don't know if his iPhone 4S is faster. But why is not, fair comparison to compare 3G versus 4G? Because you're comparing the best on the carriers, on the smartphones, the best speeds that you can get when you're out and running or whatever are doing, and you're saying that that's an unfair comparison just because you aren't close to Wi-Fi. I mean, there are two different ways to connect to the internet. You have Wi-Fi and also you have carriers, and I think most of the people are going to use their carriers. This is kind of fun. Compare the Galaxy with an iPhone using Verizon network. Verizon iPhone 4S would have been slower. AT&T is the fastest iPhone 4S network. LOL, fanboys in full effect. Why y'all mad cause your iPhone 4 crap took an arrow to the knee from an Android-based phone? I'm a true iPhone fanboy. I'm sure to tell you I don't care because internet isn't my interest. I have my laptop with an awesome internet. Who cares? So you don't care if you have slow speeds on your smartphone? My god, it's faster than the Steam Wi-Fi network as well. That's true. Yeah, but Android still sucks. Okay, so just because Android wins a test, this was also something that people were saying that Mac fanboys, that Apple fanboys, that they didn't hate on Android, but they really do hate on Android. It's just go ahead and go to all comments on this video, and it's kind of insane. I'm disappointed. This was not a fair comparison. Put them both on Wi-Fi, not 4G and 3G. Obviously 4G smokes 3G. Get it together. And until he says, don't be mad at me because the 4S isn't 4G. I show both pros and cons, and I show that the iPhone was much smoother. And also I don't get why he's showing that in this video, that it's more smooth when he was just doing a browser test. I think that's just because he wanted to calm down his fanboys. Yeah, love Android, but I wish at the point that they work on that smoothness on their OS. Both pros and cons, I suppose. You should definitely go ahead and check out the Galaxy Note or the Galaxy S2. You should do a little more, phone research before you pick a phone, because with this new Galaxy Nexus, it comes with great software, but sucky, poor hardware. But that's something that you need to research the next time you pick a phone. But it could be hard when you're, just into Apple and bought your iPhone for the last decade. If you want to test browser and phone performance, use on the same Wi-Fi. Otherwise, you're just testing which network is better. I will always prefer my iPhone 4S. I had the Galaxy for a little while, but I didn't end up liking it. My brother did. My dad just ended up getting me the iPhone, and I love it a lot more than in the Galaxy. When you're saying Galaxy, I mean there are a ton of Galaxy phones out there, so you need to be a little more specific. Yeah. Let's see, the ad was badass. Let's see, LTE is expensive and lower data allowance. Hahaha, Galaxy. LTE is expensive and lower data allowance. Okay, another guy that's sad. Let's continue. The iPhone is so huge, has its own weather. The phone is so huge, it has its own weather system. Let's see here. Hey Jan, do the same test on your Wi-Fi network with both devices instead of using cellular network. The Galaxy Nexus still beats iPhone 4S with Wi-Fi. Check out Anon Tech as well. iPhone whoops the Nexus in GPU performance, and still I don't get why he's starting to talk about the GPU performance, but that could be just because, saying that there's pros and cons with both smartphones. Let's see, who would win? A phone with 4G LTE and a phone with almost 4G HBA+. Let's continue. The Galaxy is simply nothing compared to an iPhone 4S. While it may be able to load web page a little bit faster, the iPhone 4S, it's a camera that's years ahead of the Nexus. I do agree that the Nexus camera could have been better, But saying that a 5 megapixel camera is versus the 8 megapixel camera is, yeah, like years ahead. That's a little, you know, yeah, that's a little too much. Yeah, it has a huge selection of apps. Okay, so you don't have that on Android yet. Like like, you know, I think there are at least like 300k apps out there. So yeah, you get also a huge selection on Android. It's smooth. Yeah, you should definitely go ahead and check out the Note or the S2. As I've said, the Galaxy Nexus, good software, sucky hardware, simple and clean interface. Okay, so you tell me that Android 4.0 isn't a clean interface with like transparent, you know, on the you know start page. You have the search that's fully transparent. You have virtual keys. I would say that that's kind of clean, with no like old, you know, rear button on the front. That's kind of clean, I gotta say. Let's see here. Better battery life. Okay, so I assume that you haven't heard about the iOS 5.0 update that really have had a, you know, sucky battery life on, you know, iPhone 4S and, you know, devices like that. And the problems are still not like fixed. Let's see. A more vivid screen. I'm sure what vivid means, but I made a screen test, and I can tell you that the Galaxy Nexus has a much better screen. Not doesn't look washed out as the iPhone 4S. So yeah, iTunes syncing. Oh no, shit! My Android device doesn't have iTunes syncing. Well, why would I use iTunes syncing? I'm using Spotify to wireless, you know, sync my songs to my device. And also in the Android market, I just tap on something on my computer, and then it will wirelessly send that to my device. I have over-the-air updates. I don't even have to plug in my device into my computer, but some people seem to be having a problem with this. A top-notch design. Okay, so you don't like the design on the Galaxy Nexus. Okay, that's fine. But saying that it's like it doesn't have a good design, yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna end this video right now, but you know, it's fun to read those comments. Yeah, see.